Hey, it's Tony Brueski, and this is our week in review over the weekend, taking a look back at some of the most compelling conversations and stories that we've covered for you of the last week. Brand new episodes back Monday morning, bright and early, 5 a.m. here on the podcast.
This is the Hidden Killers podcast with Tony Brueski.
Featuring former FBI Special Agent and Chief of the Counterintelligence Behavioral Analysis Program, Robin Dreeke.
I want to talk about the home a little bit of Heuermann, where his wife, Asa Elrup, is staying with their two adult children. I know I've been a bit critical on and off about it. It did seem like a hoarder house to begin with. Obviously, the FBI and the police went in and did their raid and did their search and found what they were going to find. It's to be expected that they're going to cut up couches and mattresses and that sort of stuff. It's what they do, especially when you think you have a prolific serial killer on your hand. But what about the cats? This has been brought up a little bit of their, and I get it. You got pets, you're going in, you don't know what you're going to be dealing with. I mean, they didn't shoot the cats or the dogs or anything, but the two cats were sent to a kill shelter when the home was going to be re-released back to the family members who police have already said have nothing to do with this, that they, in fact, are victims as well. Going in, they've made that statement. They know it. Why take the cats to the kill shelter? Is this just someone who was overlooking something and it looks like a very bad PR move? Or could they be a little more gentler when it comes back to turning over a home that innocent people do, in fact, still habitate in?
This is a tough one. So what normally happens, and I'll tell you why it's tough in a second.
Yeah, I want to hear it.
Normally, there's a plan, a very good, solid plan before they even enter the house, because they're going to know the layout of the house the best they can. They're going to know what pets are there. They're going to have a plan to do all the things that seemingly, from what we're hearing in the news, going sideways. What we're hearing in the news now, here's the challenge, is what we're hearing having gone sideways is from a very angry individual.
Yeah.
And that's the wife.
Sure.
So we're hearing one side, but I'll tell you what's hurt this is the conviction of the last chief. Because now you're questioning, now it's not like law enforcement's done this great job of finally finding the serial killer. Now we're saying, oh, they should have found the serial killer so much long ago if it wasn't for that guy.
And what about the cats?
Right. So maybe the entire department is botched up.
Sure.
But I don't think, I'm not a victim blame guy, but
no.
She could be, everyone could be presenting the information in a different way, I think. I think if indeed it's exactly as she's described it, then what has happened is it's horrible. It's not right. It's not what normally does happen. And I'm shocked that, knowing that this information is out there and she is saying these things, that corrective action has been taken. I'm asking myself, where is, like every time there's an arrest of this kind of nature, you have the victims assistance programs come in. The FBI has them. Every organization has this group that comes in to right the wrongs and fix these things preemptively. These type of things are automatically part of the planning process for a search, to deal with the aftermath, to deal with the victims, to deal with all these things. So it's kind of shocking that this is coming out in the news. That's why I'm shocked by it. Yeah. So I'm not quite sure whether it's her only or truth or what.
Yeah. No, I mean, I question it too. I mean, if it is truth, it is shocking. And it's like, this really could have been avoided easily, but don't know. Honestly, is what has come out. There's been other statements that have been made that have been questionable. And frankly, I think it's too.
I'm so sorry, Tony. And it's a seeds of doubt that were planted because of the chief.
Yeah, exactly. And I think questionable on her part of her behavior as well, since all of this has gone down.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's a lot of not good communication going on. Is the best way to put it.
If there is victim assistance programs out there, we know that there are. I'm not questioning their existence. Why have we not seen more of that going on with her and the family? Because they've been out on their front lawn and their porch mostly, claiming that they can't go into their house because it's not inhabitable. Wouldn't we have seen more of these groups helping, or do they also have the right to turn all of that away at the same point?
Yes. You hit them all right there.
Yeah.
Just because the service is offered doesn't mean you're going to take the service. And those types of things, if she is a wound collector,
sure.
I don't like the victim, blaming the victim kind of thing here. But that's what I'm saying. The language she is using, I don't think is helping herself. She's painting this picture that typically is incongruent with, I mean, seriously. So here's a good way to think about this. I mean, we'll do our thought experiment as we do sometimes. We have seen arrests across the country where they've made big things too. I mean, let's just look at the Koberger case. You don't see the father and that family claiming that their house is still destroyed, unlivable, and he was accused of being a serial killer. So something went differently there than here. And that's what makes me question what's going on, because she is the only one I've ever seen at this level complaining about this, which makes me question her, makes me question the department, makes me question everything. So I'm with you.
It's like everything should a little closer, have a little closer look at, just to be sure. And so we can all have the correct context on this and where this is coming from, because I could see at the same point your husband was just arrested and accused of being the Gilgo Beach killer. She's filed for divorce. That's a sign that we would look at and go, maybe she believes this is true, or maybe she's just sick of his shit. And maybe he's just been a very difficult person and this is just the last straw, whether he's guilty or not. But clearly not happy with him. You would also assume that she's probably in a very angry state of life. And if there's an opportunity to make people look bad, in this case, it would be the police and the FBI that ripped up her home for a good reason, she's going to make an attempt at making them look bad. That's just conjecture, just my opinion. But you could see it being a human behavior that's not too far off the path.
100%, and totally understandable as well, because regardless whether he is the Gilgo Beach killer or not, it's the evidence of him actually soliciting prostitutes is, to have come forward saying, yep, that was him. And he was scary, and just having that out there, regardless of the serial killer side, that destroys relationships, that destroys marriages, and it looks like, that the family has a lot of challenges, with her health and her kids' health. I mean, it's just a train wreck. And so you totally can understand her optic and her context. That's why it makes me curious why we're not seeing, like you said, why we're not seeing more in there when it comes to victim assistance.
Yeah. It would be good to have that answered of, well, she turned it down. Then we can close that chapter.
Yeah.
This is the Hidden Killers Podcast.
Want more? Start binging on all of our true crime podcasts right now through Apple Podcasts and get an ad-free experience when you sign up to be a True Crime Today Premium Plus member exclusively on Apple Podcasts.
More of the Hidden Killers Podcast, dropping soon.
Press subscribe now.